Hello. Today I woke up at around 11. When I got up, I decided to go to the kitchen and get a croissant. I cut the croissant in half, and then I put the croissant in the toaster. As it was toasting, I brewed some coffee in a cup. And as the coffee was brewing, I got a stick of butter from the fridge. I put that stick of butter in a bowl, and then I put that bowl into the microwave. Then I turned the microwave on for 30 seconds. After the 30 seconds were up, the croissant was ready. It popped out of the toaster. I put the croissant on a plate, both halves, and I put the butter out. Turns out that 30 seconds may have been a bit too long, because half of the butter had melted into the plate. So I took what was melted and I poured it into the croissant. The croissant sucked up all of the butter like a sponge. And then I found this jelly. This isn't the exact one, but it's something like it. It wasn't fig. It was raspberry. And with the raspberry, I put it on the croissant with the butter. I then ate the butter and jelly croissant, but before doing that, I sat in the den. I brought the butter croissant jelly combo with me, along with a cup of coffee, and I wanted to find something to watch. I found a new Jesse Michaels video. The Jesse Michaels video was about him interviewing the leading UAP researcher in Sweden. I watched it at 1.5 speed because the man he was interviewing talked extremely slowly to me, and I needed to put it slightly faster in order to not get bored while watching. What did I gather from what I watched, which ultimately was around 40 minutes of my time? Well, he gathered a lot of documents, some eyewitness accounts. Apparently, someone had seen two humanoids digging around what looked to be a trash bin looking area. They wore skin-tight jumpsuits. One of them had a backpack, and they looked to be 8 feet tall, with their heads seemingly recessed into their shoulders. Kind of like this a little. And it looks like they were just doing some field research and looking for something in what I remember to be the trash bin. At least that's my interpretation of it, based on the interpretation shared in the video. It was very interesting. It was going on then to talk about Betty from the Betty and Barney Hill case, for which, if you are an avid UAP, UFO, and alien researcher, like I am, you would know about. And in this special video, Betty, back in the 80s when she was still alive, was interviewed, and she mentioned that a craft had crash-landed nearby. She took pieces of the craft, brought it into her house, and then she buried them somewhere in her backyard. So, pretty interesting. And then, after that, I moved on. I decided to go into my room and work on my Brain Jam Extra video. I worked on it for 15 minutes, then I took a 10-minute break where I was trying to see if that C-Dance video generator was available. Turns out that it was not, but there was another video generator called Vidu, V-I-D-U, that was being demonstrated, so I decided to look into that. I did not like the way the app was designed, though. It felt very predatory, like it said, if you sign up today, you can get 10 generations free. And then if you purchase points a day, you'll get your first batch of points 20% off. I did not like the over-marketing. It felt predatory and too corporate, and it made me feel icky. I decided to make an account though because I simply just wanted to see how good the video generator was. So I tested it by sending a frame from one of my generations from ChatGPT, and then asking it to make the character move. It did, but the result I got was not satisfactory, wasn't very convincing, and the program did not listen to my instructions of keeping it a 16:9 aspect ratio and instead made it a vertical phone video instead. As soon as I saw that and the result being okay but nothing mind-blowing, I terminated the app and terminated my account too. Because if I'm signing up for something, I want it to be high quality the first time and not have to worry about getting bad results all the time. So once it was gone, I continued another 15 minutes on my Brain Jam Extra video. I drew a storyboard frame, where the characters, the student characters, were all listening to the teacher, and then the teacher made a comment about them having to write down everything that he just talked about, but with all the information on memory instead. So they have a surprised look and they get to writing. That's where we last left off. And then I took a quick 5-minute shower that stretched for about 3 extra minutes, and I put on deodorant, I combed my hair, I got dressed for work, and I left. When I eventually got to work, it was a unique schedule. Normally, on my 3 to 11 shifts, they give me the entire shift of sweeps. But in this particular case, it was the first hour being front end, lot, the second hour being sweeps, the third hour being lot. Wait a minute, did I say the first hour was front end, lot? Sorry, the first hour was just bagging, the second hour was sweeps, and the third hour was lot. There we go. And then I went on my lunch break, where I ran over to a nearby burger shop. And I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, but I spent $18 on this burger meal. To be honest though, I feel like I could get a much more quality-filled meal by going to one of those roadside diner places instead and spending $12. There's even a place that sells burgers for $11. And the burgers are much larger, and the fries, that's another thing. I asked for extra crispy fries, and they gave me onion rings instead. The problem was, I only had a half hour of lunch, so I didn't have time to ask them to correct the order. So I was pretty much stuck with what I got. Such a shame, but oh well. I had my meal, and as I had my meal, I remember I was listening to something on my phone. It was a Simmy and Jimmy video called Monkey's Survival Guide, where he was talking about the subject of love, and it was a pretty hilarious video, not going to lie. After I was done watching, I immediately left, arrived back to work, punched in, and then I was asked by one of my coworkers if I could take their sweep for that hour, and so I did. And then I spent my time taking out the trash, refilling the bags, wiping down check stands 8, 7, and 6, bagging for the customers, and closing the produce blinds. It all went very well, with no hitches whatsoever. I said goodbye to my coworkers and my manager when I punched out. Actually, I only was able to say goodbye to my manager, my co-manager, not the official, but one of the co-managers, because all of my co-workers had left by the time I finished up my closing duties. However, I did do a little miss, and that was that there were some go-backs that were sitting on check stand 2 that needed to be taken back, that I hadn't taken back. I punched out before I could ask if it was okay to take them out. The reason why I punched out was because I did all the closing duties, except for putting those go-backs. And it wasn't a lot, it was just a little. But except putting those away, what I should have done was knocked on the door before punching out, told my co-manager about finishing everything, and then asking about the go-backs and if that was okay. Because I know that our main manager doesn't want us to have overtime. So, I was trying to get out as soon as possible, but I guess I got a little ahead of myself. The co-manager said it was okay though, but yeah, next time I'll definitely check in before punching out to ensure that everything is done and satisfactory. I then walked to my car. I drove home. When I arrived home, there was some noodles waiting. A special noodle dish that was kind of like a casserole. It looked like a combination of sliced up spaghetti and tuna and green peas and crumblies on top. And I took that and I mixed that with some rice that was cooked. I put it in the microwave for 30 seconds and I ate that while watching a Papa Meat video about time traveling, which was very funny. I had a drink. This is the drink. Bubbly, strawberry flavored. And then I greeted my sister who made a fruit smoothie that had an insane amount of honey in it. It was the sweetest smoothie I've ever had in my life. It was pretty crazy. But for whatever reason, I couldn't stop eating it. I'm not sure why. I even had some pineapples to go with it. And I also had 2 Mexican peach lollipops. Probably should have only had 1, or better yet, none. And then me and my sister watched some YouTube before we decided to clock out, said goodnight, and then I decided to record this video before taking my vitamins, brushing my teeth, and going to sleep. And the time is currently 2:42 a.m. So I better go to bed now. So that's the scoop. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Good night. And have a great time. Goodbye for now.